We'll wait for some folks to join us before we start our topic today. It's going to be pretty quick. As you can tell, I'm very nasal because I have my sinuses are going crazy, and I started to do this outside, but there's no way in the world I could do this outside. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully, you can. All right. Well, I'm going to start this off and just say thank you, guys, for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing to my channel and liking and following my YouTube and Instagram. We are, I have 200 subscribers, I think, and that's great. I'm really excited about 200. I mean, that's not a lot, but it's fine. I don't need, honestly, when I first started my channel, I didn't expect to get as many as I had. So the fact that I have 200 is like, whoop, whoop. But, so we had some folks that said that they were interested in joining. So I wanted to wait for them to get on before we start. So, yeah, we have a dual topic today. And we're going to talk about heat damage. And we're also going to talk about the different curl patterns and hair textures. So, and I'm going to be kind of looking over to the side just because I have some notes going on over here. So excuse me while I look at some of my notes to kind of give you guys a full rundown of the curl patterns and everything. And I can't see who's on, so if you say a comment or say hello. Oh, I see people. Hi, Kyra. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry, y'all. I have the worst sinus thing going on right now. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. And then as people join in, then we will catch them up and go from there. So as some of you know, a while ago, I had posted a kind of an inquiry about some suggested topics that you guys wanted to talk about. And one of them was a question about whether heat damage was new, if it was something that we just learned about in the natural hair community, or has it been around for years? And excuse me, I'm sorry. The answer to that is no. Heat damage has always been a factor with hair. I think we notice it a lot more nowadays, because most of us are going back and forth with our hair textures. We're either wearing it curly or wearing it straight. And the heat damage has been either hindering you from having a great defined curl pattern, or it hasn't. So, but back in the days, I remember having heat damage on my hair. And what we noticed probably more so way back was when, if you did have heat damage in your hair, there were certain parts that wouldn't curl. Like, you may have worn your hair pressed a lot, and there were certain parts when you went to go and flat iron it, it wouldn't curl. That was heat damage. And sometimes in some instances that could be a chemical damage as well. Or if you got your hair pressed a lot, you'd have these little fuzzies at the top. And then if you put your hair in a bun, your edges and down at your nape would always stick out. That is a sign of heat damage as well. So it's not new per se. Hey, Charmin. to the natural hair community, it's always been a factor. I think we, like I said, I think we notice it more now that we go back and forth with wearing our hair curly to straight, twisted, and that sort of thing. I'm sorry, y'all. Excuse me. So I that to answer your question, no, it's not new. I think it's more noticeable now, and we are taking notice because of the different things that we do to our hair, especially if you wear a lot of wash and goes. Um, that is probably something that, or heat damage is probably one thing that is really hindering you from really seeing your curl pattern if you had any type of heat damage. You can also get damage from color, and that could mess up your curl pattern as well. Sharman says, I honestly never heard the term heat damage until we started trying to embrace our natural curl pattern. You know what? I think I heard it a lot more because I worked in the salon and as a shampoo girl when I was 14. And I do remember, like, even especially ladies with short hair, like if the curlers were too hot and maybe it burned a certain spot, it wouldn't curl in that area. Or ladies, when they wore their hair in a wrap, that part wouldn't lay down because it was damaged. Like I said, I don't think we paid attention as much because most people were wearing their hair straight and nobody was really wearing their hair curly unless you like curled it with the curling iron. And there were times I experienced heat damage. I remember when I was a teenager, and I had a relaxer, but I was like stretching out my relaxers and kind of pressing my hair. And I think I flat ironed or pressed my hair too hard one time. And I had this one section that would not curl. It didn't do anything. Like it messed me up. And I remember also when I was little, my grandma used to press my hair, and there was always a part in the back that wouldn't curl because it either was a thinner part of my hair that probably had too much heat on it, and it caused a little bit of damage. You also will get breakage from heat damage with um, someone who wears their hair straight a lot. You'll get like breakage like right at the nape. That's heat damage too. Or it could be. It could be other things too, but a lot of times, especially if you get your hair pressed a lot right in here, you'll notice that you'll have a long piece and then you come right here and it's super short. That could be heat damage as well. So now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about curl pattern. One of the other suggested topics was about curl pattern. What I'm going to do is not just talk about the actual curl patterns. Um, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about products and things that you can use with your hair for each curl pattern and things that, well, all of this is my opinion, but I do believe that a lot of textures require different things. And I know some people say, well, you can use the same thing with everybody. That's false. So, okay, I did a little chart and I'm going to crank up my notes here. So give me 1 second. My notes died on me. Okay, here we go. All right, so if you can see it, this is our little curl pattern chart. And I started with 2C because most things on the chart, basically anything before 2C is straight. And you're not really going to wear or to scrunch and do anything to manipulate a curl on straight hair. You're probably either going to get a perm, which I know a lot of people use the term perm referring to a relaxer, but just know that a perm is a curl. A relaxer, it straightens the hair. So if you're going to If you are somebody with straight hair, most likely you're not wearing your hair wet and curly because it's not going to do that. You're probably going to go and get a curl process, which is called a perm. All right. So let's start with the 2C, which is more like a wave, and you'll see this on people, mostly Caucasian, that have like more of a wave hair, some mixed textures. You will see that. And on that type of hair type, you would use a lighter cream, something that's not heavy, no shades really, because it will weigh the hair down. More of a water based product and very, very light oils. Um, Typically, no oil at all, especially if you're someone who is Caucasian. I doubt that you would put a whole lot of oil in there, or if you do, it's more for shine, like something that's very lightweight. And this hair type is very dense. It also retains moisture, and it requires a low pH of product. So when I said that you would probably use something that's more water based, that is the example of a lower pH of products. Okay. So the 3C, or 3A, excuse me, which is what we see more prominent with like mixed race hair textures, as well as some hair textures in the African American community that are a little bit looser of a curl. Um, it's more like ringlets, and they typically are a little bit more like bouncy, frizz and tangle very easily. My daughter's hair in the front is like this. And I'm going to explain to you why I say in the front, because most African Americans have several different hair textures. Very rarely have I ever seen someone have one hair pattern all over their head. It's very rare. And then you go to the 3B, and it's a tighter ringlet. It's more, has a higher volume, higher elasticity. The density is above average on a 3B hair. It's probably, to give you an example, it's like that water wave um, type of curl pattern that you would see in a weave. It's very tight. Um, Hi, Nicer V. Thanks for joining. And then you come over to your 3C, and that's going to be even tighter. Now, between the 3B and the 3C, you're going to want to use things that are more uh, has more moisture in there, something that is going to keep the curls bouncy but not weigh them down. So kind of a middle average way, pH balance, not something really heavy. So you might want to stay away from like the really heavy creams that are like oily. You might want to do more water based. Some creams, but some creams have more of a water base to it. They're a little light than oily. That would be for a 3B or a 3C. Now, once you get into the 4s, this is where most of the African American naturals are, between 4A to 4C. And a lot of us have all three textures in our hair. And as you can see, the 4A is really tight, but it's not as tight as the 4B. 4B is more like that zigzag, still has a curl, but kind of like spongy-ish. And then the 4C is just basically not really a curl. Now I'm going to tell you, between the three, these all need the most moisture that they can get. When you get into like the coily, really small ringlet era, going from 4A to 4C, you're going to see that the hair, it tangles, it breaks easily, It actually needs more moisture and hydration all over. You're going to um, also notice that once you get towards the 4C, it's a little more cottony, and the hair probably the um, eats up the oil a lot. It actually will look more dry. And so you want to make sure that you use something that's a little bit heavier. So your shea butter mixtures, your any cocoa butter, anything like that that has um something that is very thick and moisturizing, because that hair will break easily, very easily. Um Especially with the curls being really, really tight. A 4C is going to have very low porosity, meaning that it's just like I said, it's gonna basically take in the oil, and you actually feel like you never put it in there, depending on what you use. So if you're gonna do like a twist out, or um, if you are brave enough to wear a wash and go, you want to make sure that if you're using gels, that you also use an oil with those particular products. So seal with an oil, a good oil like olive. If you're going to use coconut oil, I would suggest you mixing it with something else that's a little bit heavier. I particularly like almond oil. I have grown to absolutely love mustard seed and macadamia nut oils. So those are a part of my regimen as well. And you can find all of the oils at your Whole Foods or any general health food store. You can mix them with your conditioner, your shampoos. I would suggest, especially if you have 4B to 4C hair, that you use an oil mix with your conditioner, especially if you deep condition. If you're like me and you tend to put your conditioner on and just kind of go about your day, you need to add like some oils, you can add some butters, but I tend to add oil and honey. It gives the shine, and it also helps with breakage, and it just puts moisture back into your hair. It's really great. So, um, I'm going to explain to you how my hair is, and then open the floor for questions. So, my hair in the very back is about a 4A. And then once right in here, my crown is between a 4A and a 4B. Now, my front, it's like a mix between some four, like my sides are like a 4B, and the top is probably more like a 4C. And I have to manipulate my curl a whole lot in order to wear a true wash and go. Um, I'm locking my hair now, so I won't be showing you on my hair, but I will show you on my daughter's hair how to do a really nice wash and go. Her hair is sort of similar, where the front is a little bit of a looser curl, but I would say that her front is more like 3A, and her back and middle are between a 3B and a 3C. She has some 4 in there, but it's like a 4A, as her hair is very, very curly. And her curls come out a whole lot when we shingle and use more of a water-based product than an oil. She can use a butter-based product. It just has to be in moderation. I usually use butter-based products or cream-based products on her hair when I'm doing like a twist out. So that's all I have today, guys. I appreciate you all for watching. Um, there, I'm gonna post the information that I got. I just used a Pinterest post to kind of go through some of the things that happens with each stage of each pattern. And so I will post that. I will also post a video very soon, probably either later today or tomorrow, And it's just going to give you an example of adding oils into your conditioner. Because I think it's very important that you see that you don't have to add a whole lot, but just to remind you to do that because it does add moisture into your hair and it's going to give you what you need to feed your hair, to put the nutrients back into your hair, and to make it feel great, especially if you leave it in. And I'm an overnight deep conditioner. Like, I love to just leave it in overnight and go about my business, but that's just me, and rinse it out in the morning. So, anywho, I'm going to get off of here. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please, if you have not, subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And we will see you later. Until next time.